Welcome to Mental Game Mastery, where we dive into the world of sports psychology and peak performance, designed for you to level up your athletic career.
Hey there, athletes. I'm your host, Coach P, bringing you mental performance insights and stories from being in the trenches of athletic coaching. As a mental performance coach, I get the privilege to work with all athletes across all sports. And today I want to explore what happened in the 1973 Figure Skating World Championships. I know, pretty obscure, huh? Irina Ronina and Alexander Zaitsev were halfway through their routine when the music unexpectedly stopped. Even if you've never watched figure skating, I'm sure you can probably imagine that the music is an important part of the routine. From providing cues for synchronizing movements to the rise and fall of the beat, the music is just as important as the people on the ice. Or is it? Let's take a look.
Well, the music has broken down, but they're keeping on with their program, and this is another unprecedented occasion. I can't remember during my time in skating that skaters have carried on when their music has stopped, but they are going on. Well, they're going through with this, and they're really skating extraordinarily well. Everything they're doing is coming off. The crowd are absolutely roaring them on, and they've gone now, and there's only 5 seconds over. What a roar, what a cheer! And what a performance.
Having the music stop mid-run would probably unnerve most athletes, causing them to lose focus, maybe even stop their performance. But not those two. Those two were so locked into the present moment that the adversity of their music stopping didn't even faze them. They continued without missing a beat. They successfully completed their program in silence and went on to win the event. So what I want you to do is take notice of how two athletes respond to similar situations, but in very different ways. One athlete thrives on the pressure of the game, but the other athlete falls apart. One athlete finds joy in the challenge, the other caves, giving into a continuous cycle of self-sabotage. So take a moment. Think about an athlete on an opposing team, maybe a teammate, or maybe even yourself, that despite the effort and the ability, ultimately fails to reach their goals or develop to their full potential. When I watch athletes I don't personally coach, I just have this nagging feeling that there must have been something more that could have been done to help them succeed. As much as we all like to watch the highlight reel of our favorite athletes, or watch athletes in real time who calmly perform in big, high pressure situations. But in sports, in business, in life, perfect doesn't exist. Here's the kicker. More often than not, it isn't always their reality. For every athlete that brings the juice and executes their plan flawlessly, there are those who make the same self-sabotaging mistakes again and again. They struggle to stay motivated and they flame out. And maybe this even happens to you. But as an imperfect human, when caught up in less than ideal situations in practice or in performance, the goal is to still find a way to get the best results possible. So when feeling stressed and tired, how do you make the decisions that align with the goals that you want to achieve when the answer is, it's the last thing that you want to do? When things go sideways on you, and it will go sideways on you at some point, it shouldn't be some shocking situation that you didn't see coming. Adverse situations are landmines on the path to success. Outside distractions are the clickbait to your performance. As an athlete, you need to see them coming, or at least expect you'll cross their path in performance and in life. Successful people aren't free from challenges. The separator is their perspective of the challenges. They run into obstacles just like everyone else. The difference is that they're able to overcome them because they developed a skill set that allows them to refocus and move forward. So my job as a mental performance coach is to help you when you are stressed and tired, make decisions that align with your goals when the activity needed is the last thing that you want to do. If we expect the obstacles, the inevitable adversity, we make a plan and we practice for them. So when the crap hits the fan, it's not a worst case scenario, it's par for the course. It will be something you can navigate successfully. And just because you as an athlete maybe falls into self-sabotaging behavior today, doesn't mean it's a forever behavior. And just because you as an athlete might crack under pressure today, doesn't mean you're doomed to repeat that behavior over and over. With the athletes that work with me, we develop the skill set you need to display a highly trained level of present moment focus and self awareness so you can perform consistently, navigate the adversity and distractions that come, and reach your goals. So, this should be amazing news. The athletes who figure out how to train the mental side of sport are the ones who will set themselves apart and experience the satisfaction that comes from meeting and even exceeding expectations. The opportunity, well, it's right here. The edge you need is right here. The question is, are you ready for it? You see, you have to train the skill sets necessary to become a better athlete. And when you are more intentional about how you approach all aspects of your training, you will become more resilient to distractions. Make decisions that align with your goals. You will defeat self sabotaging behavior and you'll stay calm under pressure. I define intentionality and focus as your ability to zero in on the task at hand. And all of this, I know, is simple to say, but harder to do. What needs to be cultivated is your awareness of your ability to recognize when you're getting off track and refocus on what you set out to do in the first place. So think of it like this. You're at the gym to get a workout in. It's been a long day, and you need all the motivation you can get. And as you grab your phone to turn on your playlist, you notice a text from a friend. You swipe to view the message, and then 10 minutes later, you're on Snapface or Tickety Talk watching kitten videos. And the crazy thing is, I see this all the time when I'm at the gym. How much time is wasted on the rest period between sets because it's become a social media surfing break? So in this example, your ability to zero in on the task at hand, which should have been working out, that was hampered. The focus went to text, then to social. Awareness is your ability to recognize when anything that distracts you from completing your goal starts to creep in, such as knowing that the text and the social will be there when your workout is over. And in this example, this athlete did an awful job of being aware of the distraction. This athlete took the clickbait. Being able to focus and direct attention to relevant objects, thoughts, or feelings is only part of the mental game puzzle. I don't know of any athlete that can be 100% focused all the time. That's where awareness comes in. You have a ton of untapped potential in your awareness muscle. Someone with low awareness tends to fall apart as pressure builds. And this can happen in many different ways, but common examples include they have amazing practices, but it doesn't translate to performance. They consistently let one mistake in performance or in their training plan, maybe missing a workout or eating junk food, missing their macros, compound into multiple negative decisions. They self-sabotage as they get closer to a goal. And they allow outside influences to dictate their energy and their focus. They have inconsistent performance in practice, in training, in competition. They're dialed in and at their best one day, but the next day they're easily distracted and seem to not have their head in the game. They focus on things outside of their control and blame outside influences such as other people's opinions and expectations or circumstances for their lack of success. On the other hand, an athlete with high awareness shows up for workouts, for practice, for competition, on time and ready to go. They take ownership of the energy they bring to workouts, to practice, to competition. They bring consistent focus and energy to their workouts, to their practice, to their performances, despite what's going on in other areas of their life. They consistently recognize when negative self-talk, self-sabotaging behavior starts to kick in and has a plan on how to refocus back onto the task at hand. They focus on what they can control. So my question to you today is, what kind of athlete do you want to be? Do you truly want to be the GOAT when the game is on the line? I know from a coach's perspective, your coach wants to coach athletes that are intentional with how they approach their athletic development. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you my favorite strategy for training the awareness muscle so you can plan your path to greater athletic success. One of my mentors, the late Ken Ravizza, taught the concept of awareness by using a traffic light analogy. When working with athletes, we look to build awareness by recognizing what I call your signal lights. It's about knowing what your signal lights can teach you about developing better awareness. The goal of developing your awareness muscle is to help you perform more consistently. It's about taking in the relevant information around you to make an intentional decision about how you need to proceed. So think about a quarterback reading a defense right before the snap, but at the snap of the ball, the defense comes out of their disguise. So you need to develop a plan for staying on track when things start to unravel on you and how to stay on track when you are performing well. So let me ask you this question. If you're driving your car and you come to a green light, what do? Well, you go. For the most part, there isn't any thought process. You just go. But if when driving your car, you see a yellow light as you approach your intersection, you're faced with two options. You either slow down or you speed up. And this is where I believe rule number one of mental performance comes into play. And that rule is do not beat thyself. But in order to not beat thyself, you have to know thyself. I had a discussion with a pitcher recently after an outing in which he struggled. And during this conversation, he knew he was working in yellow lights because he wasn't working fast enough. But part of his struggle of operating in that yellow light is that he had a new catcher, and the catcher was slowing his pace down. So upon conversation, they were able to clean it up. Now, what if you come to a red light? Well, in real life, we should stop. At least we should. But I know what you're thinking. What about the time you or somebody you know ran that red light and didn't cause an accident or get caught by the police? Understand that this type of behavior behind the wheel is just like your performance. You can get out of control emotionally and you can still have success. However, if you make this a habit, you will crash and burn, just like if you continually run red lights. It's knowing the difference of performing with emotions, but not performing emotional. Performance awareness is similar to driving a car. When you have green lights, you're positive, confident, specific, with thoughts and feelings of dominating your opponent. You are in control of yourself. But when you encounter yellow lights, you might start to feel hopeful, uncertain, vague, with timid thoughts and feelings, which can occur when something negative happens. The moment takes you out of what I call your green light mentality and shifts you into a yellow light. And if your yellow lights are not recognized and the cause of that adversity is not addressed, then you will often find yourselves in that red light mentality with negative, dejected, feeling sorry for yourself, pity party, destructive thoughts and feelings. And if this is starting to make sense and you want more info on the strategies that I use with my athletes, go to coachp.net/level up to download your strategy guide. Now, if your yellow lights are not recognized and the cause of that adversity is not addressed, then you will often find yourself in red lights. And how will you know? Well, you will start to be aware of the negative, dejected, apathetic, and destructive thoughts and feelings. The easiest way for you to think about your signal lights is the following. Green light equals you're in control. You are giving yourself the best chance for success. Yellow light, you are losing control. You are starting to lose the focus and mentality conducive to optimal performance. And then red light, you are out of control and you are beating yourself in your performance. How does this concept help you as an athlete to be better aware? Well, step number one is understanding the concepts I've explained about the green, yellow, and red lights. Then it's describing what your signal lights look like in challenging situations by identifying the following four key characteristics. What happens to your body language? What happens to your focus? What happens to your self-talk? And what happens to your physical feelings? By identifying what you feel in various circumstances, you become better at recognizing the signal lights that indicate when you're losing focus. Most athletes are running through yellow and red lights and not recognizing they've lost focus and given into distraction till it's too late. Becoming better at recognizing the signs of distraction is the first step toward fighting it off. Step number two is train the pause. Once you've identified your signal lights in various challenging scenarios, now comes the choice to pause anytime you encounter a yellow or red light. It sounds simple, but the act of pausing anytime you recognize you're losing focus can have an incredibly positive impact on your performance and the ability to make positive choices. So I simply coach athletes to pause anytime they recognize a yellow or red light situation and ask themselves, based on this situation, what's the best decision I can make to perform at my best? If a basketball player misses 5 shots in a row, I'm pretty sure they will hear that voice in their head saying, well, here we go again. You missed 5 shots in a row. You're just off today. You're letting everyone down, your parents, your coach, your teammates. And in this moment, if they pause, redirect, and replace those negative thoughts with something positive, they can move forward. So, how will pressing pause help you? Well, it'll help you return to the present moment. It will help you identify distractions that you need to remove. It will help you intentionally choose how to respond. It'll help you focus on controlling what's in your control. It'll help you recognize your signal lights, which is one of my favorite strategies for helping athletes, allow you to wipe the mental slate clean and get back into the game. So now what? What do you do next? Well, now that I've outlined how the awareness muscle can help you perform at a higher level, it's your job to put what you've learned into practice. I can't do the work for you. The best place is to start by downloading the Signal Lights worksheet that I've created. Give it a try for at least a week. And that link is coachp.net/lights. And this activity will start building your awareness muscle so you can recognize when you're losing focus. And from there, you can reinforce the concept of taking the pause to help you refocus and get back on track as soon as possible. But like any new practice, there will be some struggle at first. It's a new skill set that you're learning. And this is brain work. And brain work is hard work. What I'm asking you to do is start thinking about your thinking. And by building this skill, it will take patience and grace and consistency. And my advice is to make this a regular part of your training and your practices. And what I tell my athletes is that it's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to skip reps. And each time you meet with adversity during training, during practice, during performance, ask yourself if you're facing any yellow or red light situations. And if so, did you pause and respond in the best way possible? It's about being aware of the situations you've identified as challenging to you and be on the lookout for your yellow and red lights and refocus anytime you notice distractions. And with time, this process of identifying your signal lights and automatically refocusing will become just another thing you do. And the payoff in your results and performance will be well worth the effort. So thank you for joining me today. And if you found this episode insightful, hit that like button, share this episode on your social channels, and be sure to subscribe. So thank you for tuning in to Mental Game Mastery. Keep pushing your boundaries. Stay curious. Game plan for your signal lights. And until next time, remember, the time is now.